Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I have for you game 1 of 2 games between myself and Chich in Division 1 of the WARNO League. We are going to be playing on Vertigo, and I'm going to be using the 1st UK Armoured. And Chich, he's going to be using the 5th Panzer Division. If you'd like to check the picks and bans, I'll leave them in the description. As you can see, the game is underway, so let's quickly have a look at what I've got down. Going to be leading the charge with a few SAS patrol. They're going to be followed up by Terriers Para with Carl Gustavs. And then I've got some scouts with Law 80s in a couple of areas. I've also got Milan 2 Para heading to this building in order to cover the right hand side. I've got a few Gazelle AH1s, a Rover CP to capture Foxtrot and then Alpha and then hopefully Delta. And I've also got a Chieftain Mark 11. You can see I brought in a Tornado F3 almost immediately. This is on the first minute tick of income. The reason I've done this is because I've heard the Apache coming, and so I'm going in for it immediately with the Tornado. F4F is going to do the same for my Gazelle AH1s. My F3 though manages to take down an F104 as well. So really good trades. Hoping maybe to get a shot onto the F4F. Unfortunately not. The F4F does take a little bit of damage from the main gun of the F3, but F3 is going to get out alive. So that's actually a really good start for me. Taking down the enemy Apache, took down one of his cheap aircraft, and my Tornado survived. I only lost a truck. All of my other Terriers survived. So yeah, starting pretty nicely. Got myself set up on the right hand side, didn't lose that objective. I'm nicely in on the left hand side as well, and I'm really in a position to contest this sector. So yeah, pretty happy with how the start's gone. SAS Patrol and Terrier is now going to be engaging the Pioneers here. They can't fire back at me at the moment because they have the MP2. But here comes the Jäger Aufklärer. They're going to be revealing my Terriers Para. He has got the Marder 1A3s in position, so they're going to be providing pretty good fire support. SAS Patrol currently just using their L96 sniper. Chieftain Mark 11 using its machine guns and main gun. But the 2A3 is going to spoil the fun. As it comes in, manages to get a nice frontal hit onto my Chieftain Mark 11, forcing it to fall back. I can't move into this tree line here because the Panzergrenz are going to jump into this building any moment. And if they do, the Panzerfaust 44 is going to be going into the side armour of my Mark 11. But what is also going to potentially go into the side armour of my Mark 11 is a Milan 2 ATGM as it flies out of this bush and straight towards my tank, which is now in a very awkward position. If it wasn't already on a reverse order, now the Panzergrenz dead, maybe I could have moved back into cover here. But of course the Jäger Aufklärer have now moved forwards as well, and I'm going to lose the Chieftain Mark 11 to the Milan 2. So nicely placed Milan 2 at the start by Chich, similar to my Milan 2 here that was also covering this side. But losing that tank and not trading any tanks in return, not even trading an infantry unit really, it puts me in a real bad spot. So I'm going to try and get my Gazelle AH1 over here to try and get some rockets on target. At close range, these can be very effective at taking out infantry. And what I need to do is try and take out the Jäger Aufklärer, but the F4F going to come in, stop me from doing that. Javelin LML currently not able to get a shot on target. Meanwhile, these Terriers going to try and fall back from the Marder 1A3 fire support. Milan 2, meanwhile, getting an ace gem towards the 2A3, but nice smoke from Chich, avoiding that indeed. Law 80 scouts did jump forwards. This scout unit has a really nice AT launcher. The Law 80 has 20 penetration and 55% accuracy, but the Tornado ADS is going to be coming in, absolutely wiping the floor of all 3 units there. The scouts with Law 80, the SAS Patrol, and the Terriers Para all getting killed very rapidly by that MW1. Now, those MW1s, they're a problem for the 1st UK because we don't have very good AA. We're almost entirely reliant on Javelin LMLs. We do have track rapiers as well, but they are unreliable at best because they are a guided munition. So the enemy target has to stay in range, otherwise they never hit. which obviously is really difficult when a plane's really fast. So an MW1, which is incredibly fast, that comes in a very low altitude, is very difficult for the track rapier to actually hit. So the Javelin LMLs are my best choice to dealing with those, and I currently got this one in a relatively good position quite far up. But obviously losing all of the infantry in this area is exceptionally bad for me. So I'm going to be trying to replace that early on. But he's going to make it even worse as he comes in on the left-hand side there, kills another SAS patrol, another scout with the Law 80, and the Milan 2 was there as well. So the MW1's absolutely ruining my day. I'm well aware that they exist in the 5th Panzer Division, but for them to be that effective wasn't really what I expected, especially since all of my units were in like different compounds. The MW1 just sweeps over and wipes them all out. So I've lost 6 units of infantry to both of those airstrikes, and that's left me with a big hole on this left hand side that I just need to fill as soon as possible, which is why all of these warriors are on the way with the armoured rifles. We've got an SAS patrol coming in that's going to be accompanying my Chieftain Mark 11 here. The main reason I'm bringing this in because the Fernspeer was creeping its way up on this side, and so this was brought in to counter them, or at least spot them, so that something else can fire at them to kill them off. But the armoured rifle here going to be trying to get into position, while my Warrior Milan tries to kind of skirt around the edge. I'll be trying to use them basically as fire support into the edge of any of these engagements. I'm also going to be keeping the F3 hanging about so that I can maybe catch the MW1s should they come back. So as I mentioned earlier, I have 2 options. I've got Javelin LMLs and track rapiers, or I can go for the aircraft here. And I've got the Tornado F3 already, so that's just going to be floating around on the backside, kind of microing that a little bit because he's brought in the F104 and the F4F, and I don't want my Tornado just diving over his lines in order to get the kills. So I'm going to try and skirt one round the edge, and I do manage to do so. Get the Sky Flash on target with 2 missiles, and another F104 goes down. So pretty good engagement for me. Now this Warrior Milan is also providing great fire support onto the Panzerground units moving up the ridge. I'm also going to be able to take out a Fuchs Milan, so we're still trading pretty well here so far. The smoke getting off in time to avoid the Marder's Milan ATGM. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the situation. I've got my Rover CP that's come all the way back from Alpha, skirting round to the left-hand side to try and get in here. I probably could have done that sooner, so a little bit of a mistake on my part, but otherwise, the Warriors are getting in a good position to help kill off the 2 Pioneers here. They're also going to be able to shoot into the side of this engagement, but there is quite a lot of tanks up here. 2 1A5s. There's 2 Marder 1A3s, and there's also the 2A3. So the Milan's unfortunately not able to get the job done too well, and I'm going to lose this Terrier powder on the left-hand side in the meantime that I definitely should have jumped out into the next building. So losing quite a lot of my Warrior Milans, not good news. But I have now invested into my own airstrike, the Tornado GR1. I was going to rely primarily on these Tornadoes with HE bombs and also the Jaguars with HE bombs for this engagement. You can see those bombs do a lot of damage, cause a lot of cohesion loss for his units, and that's going to enable the Warrior Milans to push aggressively because all of these units will be having less accuracy due to that cohesion loss. These 2 on the right are the ones that need to go first, and they do go down very, very fast as the Radens get on target. The Leopard 2A3 is routing, so that's good. I'm hoping that I can potentially kill that off with a Jaguar HE bomb strike. These Jaguars, with their 4 513 kilogram bombs, are exceptionally effective, even against tanks. So that's what I'm trying to get on target here. We're going to go for this 2A3 further back. Roland hits its first missile. F4F perfect position to intercept. Takes it down. Nicely done. I believe he brought in the F4F just to stage against my Tornado. My Tornado does manage to get the kill after the fact, but the 2A3 remains alive, and that's a problem because we haven't managed to trade against his tanks just yet. But I have brought in a Challenger Mark III. These are actually relatively new to the game. These are the Challengers with explosive reactive armor, so they have 12 HP instead of 10. And that's all very well, unless they get side shot by these two Panzergrens that have managed to sneak their way into the building here. And it's lucky that the second two shots did not hit the mark, otherwise that would have been a very dead, heavy tank. Thankfully the Warrior finishes the job, and we're able to get the Rover CP in here to make sure we get the cap. Meanwhile, the Armoured Rifles are taking up a decent position in the backside of this sector, so far, so good, I would say. We've got some pretty good trades in. We've got my Armoured Rifles into good positions. I did lose a lot of Warrior Milans potentially, like, without much gain. But now this Warrior Milan's putting a lot of pain onto the Sitrungs, but of course the Tornado IDS still alive. Javelin's not able to do enough. Both of my Tornadoes are reloading or refueling, so they weren't out and about. And I'm going to lose not only a couple of units of Armoured Rifles, but also one of these Gazelles. It was only a Rocket Gazelle, so I'm not too concerned, but alas, it got shot down regardless. Fernspier, spotted by the SAS patrol, slowly getting whittled down by the L96 sniper. Chieftain also can potentially help there. Now look, SA1 going to be shooting me on the left hand side. The Raden's actually really good against the Marder and the Lux. So in this situation, the Lux losing out on that engagement, I do manage to kill off that recon unit. So really good for me. Also take out the Fernspier. Going to get the Rover CP in to contest here as well. So yeah, not too bad. I've just got to be a bit careful of the amount of tanks that are building up here. And also I shouldn't really be letting them free hit my Armoured Rifles. This is a big mistake that I make throughout the game, is allowing his tanks to constantly fire at the Armoured Rifles when they're not engaging anything. Like, these should just be falling back to safer positions out of line of sight of this area whilst I'm not engaging anything. Then I can get a supply in here, we can fix them all up, make sure they're all top notch, and that would be fantastic. But another Tornado IDS going to be coming in, does kill off another Armoured Rifle. This time around I do try and call in the F3, but way too late. But what I have managed to do, get Milan 2 to hit the 2A3 and the SAS patrol. They were engaging the Milan 2, but I put them on return fire so they remain hidden. SAS patrol now on the right hand side being hit by enemy artillery. Basically just tells me that there is recon probably further up, likely in this building, that's spotting these units. Tornado GL1 coming in for the bombing strike, looking to kill the Leopard that had already been damaged. That was the plan. If it was hiding in that tree line, I was hoping to get the kill there. I didn't. But now I've brought myself my own artillery. So just like Chich, on the same wavelength, looking to pick off some units here and there, and this time managed to hit that Milan 2 nice and clean, kill it off. No longer have to worry about that on my right flank with this Chieftain Mark 11, for example. More Warrior Milans on the way. Pioneers have moved forwards. I don't really have much to deal with those Pioneers right now. I think the Warrior Milans are going to have to try and get into a position to shoot them, and if not, the Armoured Rifles are going to be the ones that have to take the brunt of the damage. So what I'm opting to do, get a couple of bombing strikes. You can see that one's going to be aiming further to the right, one to the left. The Tornado GL1 doesn't really go where I expect it to at all with its bombing strike, and then they both get shot down because, of course, when Chich is using Rolands, every missile hits. That was 4 out of 4 for those Rolands. Shoots down both my Tornado and my Jaguar. Really, really sad times. So the warrior's going to have to move in, pick up the slack. Absolutely deletes the pioneer at close range. Terriers, I'm really hoping, can take out the egg Avkala, which is getting away by the skin of its teeth. And it will get away as the 1A5s and 2A3s engage. That's 4 2A3s there now, plus a Leopard 2A3 leader and a 1A5. And I've got one challenger in. But I do have a second on the way, and I'm just bringing in a third now because I noticed how many he had. And I don't want to get in a situation where I'm just overwhelmed by armor. So, got to get my own in, be ready for that, whilst we continue the infantry duels in this industrial area. Now his pioneers moving up, the pioneer with Armbrust. These don't have a very good AT weapon, but they do have shock. And for 45 points, a 10 strength squad, pretty nice, especially up against like my 40-point armoured rifles, which don't have shock. At least I have the Warrior Milan nearby, which is able to help with the cohesion, because they do have the IFV infantry trait, which makes this sort of infantry take less suppression when they're nearby an APC. That was taking effect a little while, but now these tanks getting good fire support onto my warriors, able to smoke that one off at least. Now moving forwards the armoured rifles to engage the pioneers and just trying to overwhelm them quickly. But there is nothing quick about infantry engagements, and that's what I always seem to forget, as the Leopard 2A3s and 105s get plenty of free shots on target, which I really just didn't need to take. But since I was forced to contest this sector to get a +1, with this Rover CB that's just like chilling behind here, I couldn't really allow the pioneers to jump too much further forwards, which is why I opted to engage them in this position. In hindsight, it was a really bad idea. But at least as soon as the pioneers show themselves to the Warrior Milans, they get deleted. This Leopard 2A3 did go down, ended up getting bailed out by my Challenger 3 with the first shot. Really good RNG in my favour in that tank engagement. So I do manage to pick off one Leopard 2A3, and now it's 4v3 once my third arrives. So not as bad odds as it were before. This Warrior Milan's once again getting really good fire, like a really good position to fire into this engagement again. And this is where I should be fighting almost every time. Just have a line of armoured rifles on the backside, force Chich to push into me, and then I can just allow the Warrior Milans to get so much value. This Javelin LML manages to hit a bunch on target, gets the Apache kill, the second Apache kill. The 5th Panzer Division, they do get access to a couple of those Apaches, so killing them off works out pretty nicely. As Chieftain here, I'm going to have to smoke itself off to stop these Fuchs Milans from getting the kill. I'm going to try and arty these Fuchs Milans now, just to try and kill one off, and then the Chieftain can snipe the other. Meanwhile, Challenger Mark III gets shot at by the 2A3. Got to be really careful of these side shots. Need more supply in here, really. That's one thing I was definitely missing, was supply to keep my armoured rifles topped off in the buildings, and also of course any tanks that were coming in to engage me. It's going to be backing up with the Challenger on the left hand side there. I am at least able to kill off the pioneers. Unfortunately a new HGM gets put in this position, takes out my Chieftain Mark 11, which survived the 2 Fuchs Milans on the right initially. We have managed to trade infantry pretty well, as the pioneers do go down. They get a lovely side shot as well onto one of the 2A3s, so that was beautiful. We're currently sitting on a +2. The only time it goes down to a +1 is when he puts a Leopard in here and starts contesting it. So far it's not too bad. We've got another Challenger Mark II on the way, more Warrior Milans coming in. The big problem is that I haven't killed any of his tanks, and like I've lost 2 Chieftain Mark 11s without really much gain from them. Like 2 of my aircraft going down for free really hurt me as well. So now Chich is going to be pushing on the right hand side. He's moved the Fernspeer forwards. They're going to be spotting my scouts here. The scouts are going to be trying to do a run, and Milan 2 looking to engage the 1A5s now. Because the Fernspeer are in position, they're going to be spotting that immediately. My Milan 2 does not hit its first shot, so I'm going to have to just fall that back. Unfortunate. We're sitting on a conquest lead. Now I'm going to have to try and defend this right hand side. As he's pushing forwards with the Citadons, he's backing them up with a couple of Leopards. There's 2 Leopard 1A5s, Leopard 2A3, the Marder 1A3, which brought in the Panzergrenz. So Foxes zoom into that right hand side, also bringing in the Warrior Milan, and the new Challenger 2 Challenger Mark 2, sorry, that I brought in on the left hand side is now going to be moving to the right hand side. We've also got some Rover Milans that are going to be moving up, getting into annoying positions in the center, so that if he wants to use this right side to push his tanks forwards, and then we potentially get side shots with those Milans. We've also got plenty of warriors now coming in with more armoured rifles, so that I can continue to contest this area. Challenger Mark II charging towards the Leopard 2A3, gets a shot on target, causes a nice amount of cohesion loss. Fox is trying to get in position, but the Terrier's Para going to be able to at least take out the Iltis Führungs. I've also now brought up a bunch of helicopters. You can see I've got the Gazelle AH-1s on the way. They're planning to take out the enemy infantry for me, while the Lynx AH-7s spread out on this right-hand side and try and deal with the Leopard 1A5s and the Leopard 2A3s. But an F104 Starfighter in again. Tornadoes are looking to try and hunt it down, but missing a lot of missiles. Do end up killing it. And whilst the Tornadoes are distracted over here, Chich on the left-hand side bringing in the Tornado IDS once again. This time around, got the track Rapier here. Do manage to catch it, do manage to shoot it down. I spent a lot of time flying over the track Rapier, and in that position, perfectly placed, managed to kill off the Tornado MW1. But I do, in the meantime, lose the Challenger Mark II on the right-hand side, which was really bad. Didn't micro it properly at all, and end up losing it for free at close range. Ideally, I don't want it in at close range. I should have had it at range. Bring in other units that can push in to close range first. So I have to move the Rover CP out of here because the Pioneer with the Armbrust moved up. And they would have killed off the Rover CP had I left it there. But at least with the Challenger Mark IIIs in position, plus the Warrior Milan, we're able to do a lot of damage to these units. On the right hand side, another Lynx goes down to, I believe, an F4F. And we're in a lot of trouble right now. So I'm really hoping that my new bunch of units here can push back into this sector effectively. We're doing a lot of damage to his infantry, ripping them to shreds with the warriors. Rover CP ends up getting killed because I didn't move it far enough back. Do manage to take out a Leopard 1A5 thanks to the Challengers, so that was good. But here comes another Tornado IDS. It's going to kill one unit of my armoured rifles. Does a lot of damage to my Warrior Milans. Doesn't do much else though. My F3 intercepts. And we shoot it down. So actually ends up being a good trade. Taking down the second MW1 means I don't have to worry about those HE cluster rounds anymore. But I still need to make ground. And on the left here, my Challenger Mark III is vulnerable, does get killed off. I didn't have any recon left on this left-hand side, and it caused that Challenger Mark III to get killed. I should have also just retreated it, considering I was on such low health. At least the Warrior Milan is going to be able to finish off the Fern Spear there and remove his recon so that he can't see the Milan 2 anymore. Once again, these armoured rifles kind of getting killed for free there as I leave them vulnerable to the Leopards. Right side's still a mess. The Lynx 87s really didn't pay off, especially with his use of aircraft, the F-104s and the F-4Fs. Really just kind of cleaning house on all of my helicopters. So now I'm just trying to utilize some rifles with the Fox here, with the Challenger Mark II. Try and get in here from range, maybe get a leader back in here. I've really got to try and stop this +4. Got to get a leader on the left hand side. He's managed to capture this sector entirely as well, thanks to this 2A3 that just didn't want to die. One of my Challenger Mark IIIs did actually get a shot onto the Leopard 2A3 but missed. It was really, really sad. So I'm going to just try and arty that instead in the middle, because LAH1s goes down, but not too concerned about that. The main thing here, just got to get my rifles forwards and push him out of this area. And then I can get a leader in here, capture that back on the right hand side. Meanwhile on the left, Warrior Milan looking to try and kill off the Jäger Avtaler. My Challenger Mark IIIs are trying their best to engage the Marder 1A3s, but they completely failed. And now are both left on very low cohesion. Did manage to at least get the artillery shell on target of the leader 2A3 on the left. So that's good. And Warrior Milan here winning the engagement once again against the Marder 1A3. So that's good. But as soon as they show themselves to this big blob of tanks, not a good time. Now this is really where I wish I'd kept cluster tornadoes in my deck. I actually took them out prior to this game because I was hoping that I'd be able to rely on the HE bombers. And the HE bombers are more like globally useful, especially against like big blobs of infantry. And since like the 5th Panzer gets access to Jaegers and stuff, like having the HE makes more sense to me. But alas, having the cluster in this situation would have been perfect, because Chich was just using big blobs of his Leopards and just driving them around all together. A tornado cluster comes in there, hits all of them down to like half health. Challengers can just peek out and kill them all. It would be absolutely beautiful. But instead, he's just able to freely move these around. You can see I tried to move the Rover CP in here to cap this. But unfortunately, my Challenger 3 is going to go down. I don't believe this one had smoke left, so I couldn't smoke that one off. 2A3 manages to kill off the Chieftain Mark 11 on the left-hand side. And the rifles and the foxes and stuff, they're starting to make ground through here, which is really, really nice. Rifles have broken through. Foxes moving up. F4-3. I mean, if I can take this right-hand side, I can capture both of these, right? And get loads of points back. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe I've managed to break him on the right-hand side. I'm at least able to get the Harrier, sorry, not the Harrier, the Tornado, to bomb one of the 2A3s, so that was good. But then I realise the 2A3 that I thought had been either killed or pushed back to here was actually on my left flank. And it comes in, sneaks up, side shots my Challenger, and puts me in a hole, because now I don't even have an advantage on the right hand side. Like my Challenger Mark II, if it was there to kill the 1A5s, I probably would have been fine, but it wasn't. So I end up surrendering, because with only like 10 minutes left on the clock and me just losing like 4 heavy tanks, it was really, really bad. Up until that point, you know, there was a chance I felt. And like the first 10 to 15 minutes of that game actually went really well for me, until the MW1s came in and spoilt the fun, really. The MW1s getting like 3 kills each was absolutely gross at the start of that game. Especially considering like how well I did on my initial engagement. And then him to just be able to do that to me, I felt violated as the first UK. Not much I can do. Anyway, in the end, 4,615 kills to 6,080 losses. Honestly, not too bad. A lot of those losses coming at the end there as all of my really expensive tanks went down. Unfortunately, didn't have enough supply on the left-hand side. I'll definitely admit that. I let a lot of my armoured rifles die for free on the left-hand side as well. Managing that side better would have been the key to victory there, for sure. Especially after the MW1s are shot down. Like, it really opens up the game for me, because I can blob a lot of my Warrior Milans and armoured rifles a lot more. And that can be very, very scary for his Marder Panzergren combos. Because my armoured rifle Warrior Milan combo, I believe, is better than the Marder 1A3 Panzergren combo. And then it's just a matter of, like, microing my tanks around his. In theory, he has better tanks than me in the 2A4s, but I can trade with the 2A3s okay, and then I can just use the HE bombers to chip the 2A4s enough that I can kill them with the Challengers. Unfortunately, of course, I got really unlucky with my HE bombers, lost 2 in that one strike, and that was really, really, really bad for me at that point. Sad times indeed, but well played, Chich. Takes game 1 of our 2 games and puts me at 0-5 in the WARNO League. Huzzah! I had a lot of fun with this game regardless. Chich is a great player. And yeah, we'll move on to the second game and see how we get on. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.